Welcome to the game of real estate. I'm your host, Jason Rash. I'm taking you on my journey from $0 to $100 million in real estate sales. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the game of real estate. My name is Jason Rash. I'm your host, and I've got my beautiful marketing expert here, my residential marketing expert in the house, Brooke Rash. How are you today? Feel you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So today I'm going to talk about what I learned in my first year in real estate down here in South Florida. Now, before I do this, I'm going to be actually I'm going to talk about a couple different things that are going to, you're going to be, oh my God, I can't believe that he did that, but pushed through it, made the dream happen, and got the results. So I do want to talk about a couple different things. I've got my wife on here, and she's on the internal dialogue side. Now, what you don't know about success is all of the meltdowns that people have whenever nobody's looking. Because most people, they always see the stuff on Instagram. It's pretty. Whatever business it is that you're in or whatever it is, you got to know on Instagram and social media, it's not always what you see. I'm going to talk about some of that stuff today, some of those real life struggles that I went through to get to where I'm at now. Now I've got people joining our brokerage because of me and all that good stuff. And that's fine and dandy and finding success now, but I want to share with you exactly what it takes. And then you can apply this to any business, whether or not you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or you're starting your own personal training business, or since we're in a brand new studio here, like my boy Ben, you're starting a podcast business. By the way, this is a great spot, isn't it? So,
but mainly it's for real estate.
Yeah, mainly it's for real estate.
What you learned your first year.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to know everything when you get started. And that's in every industry. That is actually what I was talking about today in my social media content, because we are in social selling. People will not get started because they don't feel like they know everything, and so they'll hold themselves up. And so the best way to learn is by actually doing the things, and you learn and you grow through it. And you have to be willing to make mistakes and look stupid at times, which you've had a few of those happen.
God, yeah.
And I have been there for all of the behind the scenes and all of the daily walks around the neighborhood where he's debriefing me on what happened and where he screwed up. And so he's going to be sharing all of that today, but also some wins too.
Yeah, let's share some wins.
Let's get it going.
So I love the Instagram post. It's like how it started versus how it's going. So I'm going to give you a background of how it started. So as we record this today, it is November 21st, 2024. My wife and I and son, a whole family, moved here in June 7th, 2022. We knew one person when we moved here. I'd never even heard of Palm Beach Gardens, honestly, before February before that. And I do want to say how I wound up here is I actually came out here in February of 2022. Kanye West had the Donda concert, went to that. It was super weird. But we also came here for a business event. What got me here to Palm Beach Gardens, though, was the fact that it was -10 in Colorado and it was 74 degrees here in the middle of February. And I was like, oh my God, I could do this. This is incredible. That's how I fell in love with Florida. Wound up getting here. Moved here, stayed home for a year inside of my apartment to build an online business. I didn't get to really know anybody, didn't get to really build a network outside in person. So I was like, hey, look, I've got a podcast going. It's called Where's My Money? You can go check it out. One of my previous podcasts. Guy came on. He said, hey, man, you should start selling real estate with me. You're already an investor. I said, fantastic. Let's do it. I took the real estate exam and poof, next thing I know, exactly 1 year later, August 8th of 2023, I found myself sitting in a real estate brokerage office, only knowing 16 people in the area. Now, here's the thing. When I first started this business, I had no idea where I was going to find anyone to buy or sell a house. I had no idea of anyone that wanted to sell a house. I had a large social media following, but none of those people were moving here. And as far as I know, not many of those people knew somebody that knew somebody who is in West Palm Beach area. So I had to start from ground zero. Now, my wife and I are super successful entrepreneurs. We've done very, very well. And this was incredibly humbling to get started. In fact, it was so humbling. Some of my friends reached out to me and they were like, dude, WTF, what are you doing? Like you have passive income from real estate. You've got this coming in from another business. Oh my God, like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you lowering your standards to doing this? And what was that answer to that, bro?
Because you were miserable. So Jason, if you haven't been able to tell, he is a people person. He is the extrovert of the two of us. I can speak on camera, so people think I'm extroverted, but I'm actually a lot more introverted. So he just was not happy just being behind a computer screen all day. He likes to be out interacting with people. And so it just made sense for him to jump into real estate and actually sell real estate instead of just passively, just like collecting money from our rentals. It wasn't bringing you fulfillment. Yes, it made money, but it wasn't bringing you fulfillment. And
it wasn't like production. Like, I think people get investing confused with production.
But production brings fulfillment.
Right, that's right.
It brings
I
fulfillment.
thought investing would bring me fulfillment.
Because I recently went through that in my own journey with my own business. So like I understand, like I was making a lot of money, but I didn't feel fulfilled because I wasn't producing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't bringing in new people. And so it was the same thing for Jason. He needed something that was going to fill his cup, and that ended up being real estate because he's great at sales. He loves real estate. So
and I
it
love
just
people.
made sense. So let's jump into what you learned the first year because there were a lot of lessons. Let's talk about the lessons.
The first thing is that this is a contact sport. Like real estate is a lifestyle and it is a contact sport. And this could go a couple different ways, by the way. Number one, it's cutthroat. Like if you think real estate or you think anything is cutthroat where you're at, it is magnified here in the Palm Beaches. Like magnified. I mean, I know people that will slit your throat in a dark alley everywhere else, but they'll do it right now, right here in the middle of a subway. I'm telling you, like
that's because they're from New York.
Yeah, that's because
most of them are from New York. So that's why they operate that way.
It's a contact sport. So I had to get out of my house and I had to learn the answers. I mean, I can remember. So I paid for leads in the very beginning through Zillow. I'll never forget this. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how Zillow leads work. You get a phone call on your Zillow app and you have 30 seconds to answer it. No matter where you're at, it could be in the middle of a hurricane. Doesn't matter. If you don't answer it in 30 seconds, they shut it off and they send it to somebody else. I was so new to the area. Again, I told you, I stayed inside for an entire year, so I didn't get to really learn the area. And they have some roads here that have a lot of, it takes a little bit of phonetics to be able to pronounce it or enunciate it. I am phonetically challenged if you haven't learned that yet from listening to me. So I think I want to say it was like Poinciana, something like that, Boulevard. Poinsettia. I called it Poinciana. Anyway, I picked up the phone. And it was this New Yorker, and he must have been in his 60s, and you could tell he smoked for like 30 years. Probably still smoking. God bless. Anyway, I said, hey, Bob, I see where you're at. You're looking for a property over here on Poinciana. And he said, boy, let me tell you something. If you can't pronounce the name of the street, you're not the guy for me. Bam, and hung up on me. I was like, what? What? I mean, he just hung up on me. I mean, it's cutthroat here. And so that was a lesson learned. I was like, well, damn, I've never had anybody do that before.
Now you're going to learn how to say the streets properly.
Yeah. Now I learned how to say the streets properly. If I don't, I put it in Google and I'm like, how do you pronounce this street?
So what's your next lesson?
The next lesson is a large social media following didn't really translate into sales. I have 45,000 followers across Facebook, and I have like 5,000 or 6,000 on Instagram, and I've got a few in email. And one thing I learned, Brooke, was that I thought, like, going into it, like, hey, listen, we're going to be able to do this. Like, we built every other business. We were super successful in the network marketing space, made millions doing that. And I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but it's probably going to be a little bit like that. Nope. It was completely opposite.
Well, that's because our online network is not local to this area. We now have people that we've added in that are from here, but they're from literally all over the world. So I knew it wasn't going to translate into dollars. I'm not sure why you thought that it would.
I got a fake head.
This isn't the first time we've built a local business. So back when we lived in Alabama, Jason and I both had our own local businesses there, and that was how we first got our start in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Then for the next 10 years after that, we did everything online. So I mean, it's good for your presence because, like you have nice assets and your video marketing is really good. I'm not sure who does all of that, but, for the most part, it looks nice.
I would say it's this woman right here sitting in front of me who's actually elevated my brand on social media.
So what's the next lesson?
So the next lesson is that we're constantly networking. And this is something that we had to really step into. Now, if in South Florida, I will say in the area that we're in, networking is, I would say, it's a lifestyle. Like you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly the other day to where it's like it's just a networking state where everybody wants to network. They want to know people. They want to build something. They want to build a business. They want to build relationships. They want to build a future. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the West Coast of Florida, a lot of people, they've already made their money and they want to go to sleep
we haven't lived there, so we can't really speak for that. I could compare it more to where we were living before in Colorado.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so I mean, just South Florida, it's a whole vibe. And of course, up here in Palm Beach, right, we're in the studio we're in right now is in Boca. We live in Palm Beach Gardens. It's much different than Miami, but because people think that it's all the same. It's not. Yeah. But the whole, from Miami all the way up to Jupiter, it's a vibe. There's a lot of very successful people who live here, lots of CEOs, executives, former like professional athletes, like people, entrepreneurs, people who have done something with their lives and have money, because it costs money to live here. And so it's just a mindset where the people are always networking, and like people want to grab lunch and they want to do coffee and they want to have dinner and they want to meet for drinks. Whereas when we were in Colorado, loved Colorado, beautiful, moved there for the mountains, for the hiking, for the scenery, but it wasn't for us when it came to the people, when it came to finding our people that were, like entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for us, this has been a really good fit. And yes, it is constant. Like as soon as we finished with this episode, we're going to have a late lunch with someone, and then we're going to a networking event this evening, and then tomorrow night we're bright lining down to Miami to have dinner with some other people for business, and I think Saturday night we have a business dinner as well. So that, for sure, the networking is always, it never stops.
Yeah, and this is the biggest thing that I've learned. So like the actions that we took to grow another business, while they were helpful, but they weren't the exact actions that I needed to take to grow this business. And that was a big learning curve for me. And you said it best whenever you were like, listen, your social media is just a business card. It's just a placeholder. You're doubtful you're going to get leads from there. And look, I got a thick head. I got a really thick head. I was like, no, it's going to work. It's going to work. Or like, we're going to pound social media. And I'll be honest with you, all the stuff that I've gotten I've gotten zero through social media. Zero.
Well, what I found in my experience with the whole social media thing was that the more busy that he got, the less he was posting on social media because he was actually working. So just seeing people's stuff on social media doesn't necessarily mean anything. I actually have to try to remind him, like, hey, you're a real estate expert. You should be at least talking on your stories about real estate. But he's so just busy doing the actual things, the activities to make money, that he doesn't have the time to make social media. And for most people, they don't really care that much about that. But because he and I have spent the last 10 years building a business on social media, I think it was just a big shift for you mentally to go away from like every day social media to now it's like more in person. And social media is, like you said, I said, a business card. And so people land on your page, they see that you do real estate here. You may get a lead here and there, but it really is just there to give you validity.
Yeah,
That's
they're gonna Google me. They're going to Google me. Just like right now, like I got a call right before we came to the studio, and we're going to get the house under contract. Or we had the house.
Which one?
They're going to the listing that I have up in Jupiter, Florida.
Okay.
So I got a call saying, hey, the person that wants to buy it's an agent in Indiana. They found the agent through a mutual friend, and she reached out to. They just said, hey, this guy lives in Colorado. Because she found us on social media, and we just, as you know, we moved the rest of our stuff here from Colorado.
Last week.
Yeah, last week, just from Colorado. And so it's crazy how much people are going to Google you. Like, it's important to have social media, but I don't think it needs to be the main thing. That was a big lesson for me. That was a super big learning curve. I will say another one that came up for me is that, we've done sales. We've done a lot of sales together. We've sold millions, hundreds of, over $100 million worth of stuff across the internet. Me and you, and done fantastic. Whereas real estate is not so much sales. It's more service, especially at this level. And that, you mix in the high rollers, like you said earlier, like I'm talking power players, you guys. Like we're talking CEOs of Fortune 200 companies, Fortune 50 companies, Fortune 500 companies. Just, you know the names of them. You know the names like Starbucks, like anything on that Starbucks Target level. Not exactly those companies, but that level. These people, they require a certain level of service. They want everything set up for them. They just want to walk in and it's done.
Right.
It's done. And I didn't realize that. And I was like, I got a really high level client. I was hosting an $8 million house. You remember this right here. I was hosting an $8 million open house. Guy comes through with his family. A lot of people were in the house together. I'm showing the property. I said, I'll be with you in 10 minutes. He said, no problem. So I guess he saw something. I was in the zone because anybody would have bought from this guy. Anybody would have loved to represent this guy. And he was like, hey, look, before him and his family walked out the door, he opens the door to leave. His kids go out. His wife goes out. He's about to take the step down. He's like, let me get your card. I hand him the card. Heard nothing from him for 2 weeks. He reaches out to me and we begin a conversation about buying a house. But he could have reached out to anybody and anybody would be like, yes, I will sell you a $5.6 million home. I have no problem. Any realtor listening to this right now would be like, yes, hello, please, a $5.6 million lead lands in your lap. But what I learned was it was the level of service. Yes, energy is very important in this town. Energy, like older people, because they got money, they gravitate to that younger energy. Because I guess somehow they see a little bit of themselves in me. And so they gravitate to me. I'm just now having this epiphany while we're doing this live. Like I'm having this epiphany. And professionalism, sales, and real estate knowledge really is like, it's such a small piece of it. I think a lot of people here need to trust the individual and know that they have character behind. And what I learned also bringing you on board, but bringing our son into the mix too, and in the open houses. Remember that?
Yes.
We've done quite a few of those, and we've had a lot of people. You've connected with a lot of people.
People like the family dynamic.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of sleazy salespeople. There's a lot of sleazy people in real estate, that just fast talkers, want to make a quick buck. Jason actually cares about people. That is his superpower. Like he's really good at getting to know people and remembering like small details. That's just who he is. But he noticed that people would treat him differently whenever I was there and our son, who's a teenager, was there. We do have another child. She's out of the house. She's actually home now for the holidays. She's in college, turns 21 next week. But it just gives that family dynamic. And I think you said because we've been married as long as we have, it adds another layer of trust.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, and so we leverage it. So, if you're out there and you're building a business, think of all the layers of trust, because eventually people, they know, like, and trust you, but trust is the biggest one. They have to trust you on some level. And I think that people want to know the character of an individual. And when you have that and you can present your family there, it seems to me like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and our son's not Hunter Biden, he's not like
True.
Snorting cocaine off of a stripper's crack.
He's 17, so I hope we're not.
He represents us well.
He does. Yeah. And there's, in my first year, like I've had so many ups and downs. I've had so many situations where we've had big deals come together and big deals almost fall apart, just literally almost fall apart. And it's a situation where you've got to be able to pick yourself up. My wife has seen, I've had a $5 million deal. I had one deal I was going to do was a $10 million deal just to buy the land. We were going to buy this land. Follow me here. We were going to buy a land in Jupiter Inlet Colony. This is a lot. A piece of dirt, like less than an acre, was $10 million. And we were going to build on it for $5 million. And we were going to exit out at like $25 million. And so like it would have been huge. And I had the guy that was going to buy it there. I had the listing agent there. I had the builder. Everybody was there, and it just fell apart at the last minute. And these are things, unfortunately, that you've got to be able to pick yourself up from, and you've got to be able to pick yourself up all the time. And real estate it's amazing. Like I love the idea of unlimited income. I love the idea of competition. I am a very competitive individual. And if you love competition, sales may be for you. And here's the thing. I do want to throw this out in this podcast. If you're in a job right now and you're in a 9-to-5 job or you're in a salary job and you love competition, you're probably feeling burned out right now. And I really honestly believe that burnout doesn't exist. I believe that people get burned out, quote unquote, when they can't see a way forward, when they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, when they can't see a future that's beyond their current reality. I really do believe that. But at the same time, that's what I love about real estate. Like this deal fell apart. Yes, it would have been like $700,000 in commission. That's more than what most people make in like years. Like just all at once like that within 12 months. It would have been incredible. But I had to pick myself up because I saw other doorways. I see other doorways out there. And this is the thing I learned about real estate. You have to have multiple balls in the air. You've got to be juggling multiple deals, talking with multiple people, and you've got to be very, very good at conversations. Like my wife is always seeing me talk to people. Like I don't go away from a conversation without having somebody's contact information. I'm like, what's your Instagram? What's your Facebook? What's your cell? Like I'm always getting somebody's constant contact information.
You have some guy you're trying to sell a house to right now who you met at the Florida game a few weeks ago,
Oh my
right?
God, this is a story for the century. So my son is a cheerleader. Our son is a cheerleader at the King's Academy. It's a great Christian school. If you're looking to move down here, the King's Academy is amazing. And he's the only male cheerleader. And I really like to, I'm a father that's in the mix. And I love help casting the vision. I didn't have that. My father walked out on me and my mom at 13 years old. And so I didn't have that. And I swore that I would always be a great father. It's important to me. And so I want to really help my son cast the vision. He's talking to me. He's like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. I'm like, well, you could take this cheerleading thing and you could get really good at it. Like you could get scholarships, you could get jobs. The unlimited connections. It's amazing. So I took him to a Florida Gators game. We drove up. It was a night game, thank God, because that was incredible. And we drove up, and keep in mind, this is a stadium of 89,000 people. I asked the cheer coach, hey, where's the best place to sit whenever you're watching the game? So if you want to see the cheerleaders, she told me where to sit. We sat there. I bought front row tickets. There was literally nobody in front of us. It was the field. It was the wall and the field. And we're sitting there, and this guy sits down next to me, or next to my son. So it's me, and my son is to the left of me, and we're looking out of the field, and this guy and this woman sit down next to my son. And me and him, he just starts talking to my son a little bit, and I start talking to the guy. And next thing you know, we're striking up a conversation. We're talking, and it comes up, hey, listen, I want to buy land in Jupiter on the water. Bing! Oh my God! My son looks at me. He's like, Dad, you sell real estate? I'm looking. He's like, the guy was like, do you have a card? I was like, every time somebody asks me if I'd have a card, I never have a card. I know, shame on me. Shame on me. I know, I internalize that, but. My son grabs my phone. He's like, Dad, you took a photo of your card the other day. And I was like, oh my God, I did. So my son's looking through my phone. I don't even have my phone at this point. He's taking it out. He's excited. He's starting to see the very beginning budding of a sale happening, right? Of networking. Too. He's starting to get it. And I can see, I didn't stop him. I don't have like any nudies on my phone or anything like that. So I was like,
I'm sorry, I'll step my game up.
Yeah, there you go. And so I was like, hey, look, and he went through there. He found a card, and he's like, here you go. Let me airdrop it to you. And then the guy was like, I can't get it. My son was like, here, you got to do this. He did change his settings in his phone. I'm getting excited just thinking about how excited my son was. And this is what, hey, by the way, this is what every parent should do. You should want your kids to be unbelievably successful, far more successful than you. And so he changes all the guy's settings, airdropped him the thing. And then me and my son started watching the game. And next thing I know, the guy it was like a commotion and all this other stuff. And the guy got up and left. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to see or hear from this guy again because I didn't get his contact information. I know, shame on me. It was loud, but I didn't get his contact information. Anyway, I guess, again, he looked at my son and he texted me out of the blue and said, hey, that was really awesome what you were doing for your son. Because I told him all about my son and the cheerleading and all that stuff and how I want to help cast a vision. I think he found a connection with that. And that's one thing that I discovered in South Florida. If you can build a connection around wholesomeness and common ground and what people like, and you can bring your family along that journey with you, you're like my son got to see, our son got to see the budding of an actual conversation, a networking. And now if it turns into a sale because he's driving down here on Friday, shout out to you, Jimbo. He's driving down here on Friday to take a look at the property. And if it closes, my son will have been there from the very beginning. And I think that that's incredible. So if you can do that for your kids and put them in that position, whether or not they want to complain about it because he wanted to stay home and scroll Instagram, right? But I drug him up there to the stadium, which he loved, by the way. Then do it. Put your kids in that position. That's one thing that I learned. It's like all these little things. Now you have
What's the next lesson?
Yeah. So
I have to keep him on track. That's what I'm here for.
She does.
Is just keep him on track because we have lunch in 45 minutes.
All right, we're going through it. So the next thing I learned about my first year in real estate is prompt communication. Like these high rollers, and I deal with high rollers. Like if you're buying $1 million house, you're a high roller. If you're buying a $650 house, you're a high roller. But if you're buying a $6 million house, you're definitely a high roller. One thing they love is prompt communication. I like prompt communication. I know that my wife will text somebody and they won't text her back and it just flies all over her because she's a prompt communication individual.
Oh, yeah. I just got a text back from someone that I texted 3 days ago to try to schedule an appointment.
It's like, how do these people live their life? Like I believe how you do anything is how you do everything. Like, would you agree?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, 99% of your life you're going to be like that, right? I know you. I know you. I live with you. We share a sink because I have not changed the water pressure on the other sink yet.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
you need to sell more real estate because my goal, my dream. My dream. Let me tell you about my dream. My dream is to have a custom house built where the bedroom has 2 wings for 2 closets and 2 bathrooms because most builders will do it where there's a his and hers closet, but I'm like, I don't want to share a sink. I don't want to share a bathroom.
Nothing.
Like, I don't want to share a toilet. None of that. Like, I don't want your shit to be near my shit. Like, I want your stuff on the other side and we can meet in the middle to sleep. And actually, honestly, I'd prefer to have my own bedroom in general because I sleep better whenever I'm not in the bed with you. But anyhow.
Oh, wow. All right. We're getting truthful here. Let's reveal the tell-all.
This is why old people sleep separate because you just sleep better when you sleep by yourself. I'm a hot sleeper anyhow. If he even touches me for 5 seconds, I'm like, boom.
Oh my God. It's like touching that kid in The Incredibles, Jack, where he turns it, he burns into flames.
And I'm going through perimenopause, so that doesn't help matters.
Yeah, there is that. So back to prompt communication though. Like as an entrepreneur, I'm a prompt communication individual. I talk fast. Like you don't even have have to put this on 1.5 speed, but I talk fast, I listen fast, but I communicate very quickly to
I would
individuals.
disagree. He doesn't listen fast.
Yeah, well,
Not to me.
Well, certain things. We're still working on that. Like I told you in the other episode.
It's been 25 years. I think you need to get it together.
I've got a thick head. So prompt communication, like what I've discovered is that with prompt communication, you can crush the market. Like I know so many real estate agents that don't, and along with buyers and sellers alike, right? If you don't communicate quickly, you're going to get left behind because somebody like me is going to come along. The next thing I learned is like the truth. I'm a truth teller, but I have been in the room with some agents who haven't told their clients the truth. I'm like, why would you say that? Well, that is absolutely, that's untrue. We talked about that. You know that. That is not right? And so like I've been in the room where people won't tell the truth to the clients. They're like, this piece of data, why won't you tell them the truth? Or like, hey, listen, why would you tell somebody that you could sell your home for X when you clearly know that you cannot sell it for X?
That's what we call integrity.
Yeah. That is a big thing with me.
Having integrity. Before you move on to the next one, we need to have a word from our sponsor.
Yes, let's have a word from our sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by Recharge. Recharge. It's like the remix. I can hear that thing going off in the background. This is That's it. There you go. My man, we need to get that sound effect up in here. This is insane. So I love this product. This product gives me focus. It gives me unbelievable focus. My wife likes to call it the natural Adderall, but I'm going to let you tell her. I'm going to let her tell you more about it. Go ahead, Brookie.
So it's not an energy stick. It's not just like caffeine. What this product is, it's for focus. So before we podcast, before we sit down to focus, do work, reach out to leads, follow-ups, anything that requires you to just be focused, you want to take this. It does give you a bit of an energy lift, but it's not like drinking a cup of coffee, like not at all. It has something called guarana extract, and I'm going to tell you some of the benefits. Number one, increased energy and alertness.
Yes, let's go.
Like
who doesn't want that?
Driving at night or something like that. It helps to improve your mental clarity. I think it boosts my mood for sure. It helps me feel better. Enhanced cognitive function, better memory, attention, overall cognitive performance. And this is something I'm just now learning from reading this. It's actually an appetite suppressant. So I remember I did say it is a little bit like Adderall. When I doubled my dose one day last week, I really thought it was like Adderall, but without like the crazy jitters. And because I actually used to have an Adderall addiction, but we don't have time to go into all of that
This is the game of real estate podcast. So,
but those are the main benefits of it. But we've been using it for about a month now, and every day, like I'm obsessed. Jason's obsessed. It's really good, and it's affordable. And I think you have a link.
I do have a link. That link is
recharge.jasonrash.com.
There you go. That's it. One thing I want to say about this product is it does not give you the jitters. It does not make you feel anxiety. It does not make you feel like all of a sudden you have a sugar crash like an energy drink. Many people actually will reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I'm addicted to energy drinks. Surprising amount of people I know out there. Boys, you guys got to get off the energy drinks. I don't drink energy drinks.
You. It really is.
I will not drink energy drinks. I saw a guy suffer. He was drinking 3 Monsters a day. He developed pleurisy. He developed problems with his kidneys. I will never drink another.
Stones.
Yeah, kidney stones, massive kidney stones. I will never drink an energy drink. It's toxic. It's poison. Stay away from them. Grab the Recharge. This will help you get off of the energy drinks. And actually, will give you exactly what you're looking for. Nobody really wants the body shakes. Nobody wants the anxiety, but this right here will get you in the zone and get you focused and ready to dominate your day. Let's go. Back to the podcast.
All right, what's the next lesson?
You need to roll in with confidence. You need to roll in with what you're doing. And that doesn't mean knowing real estate knowledge. Yes, all of that stuff is helpful, but you need to know people. For instance, I ask questions because I want to find out more data about people. The moment that I find out the data about people, I can pretty much put that in the back of my brain. Okay, you got Shelly. She's got a dog. She's from Texas. Her husband's name is Ralph. This is what they're looking for. This is how they want to do it. And the moment that I can spit that stuff back out through an email, I'm going to beat the people that are out there just trying to get the sale. I'm trying to build relationships. Like that is the biggest differentiator, I think, between what I do. Like I realized pretty early on, listen, look, we've all had that one car salesman or real estate agent in our life that just really wasn't that great. And quite honestly, I hate the word agent. I love real estate sales professional because I want to build relationships. When I first started this, I wrote down on my goals, I want to build a 6-figure referral business with clients that I would bring to Thanksgiving. I don't want some client that I'm not going to want to be around. I don't want to have coffee with them. I don't want to have drinks with them. I don't like them as a person. And that's how I built my business from the ground up.
Well, that's how we've built all of our businesses. You know, when you are in sales, it's about more than just selling a product, right? It's about developing a network. And that's why we've had the success that we've had, because we've built genuine relationships with people. So if someone right now were to go to our social media channels, they would probably not be very impressed with the vanity metrics, is what I like to call them, because they're very modest numbers. I think I have 11,000 Facebook followers and like 9,000 Instagram followers. So I have about 20,000 followers. You have about 50,000 followers. But most of those people are actually quality people that have been following us on our entrepreneurial journey for many years. Sure, you've had some people that come in and some people that exit as we shift gears and whatnot. Seasons change, right? People change, that sort of thing. But these are people that are quality people in our network. They're not just someone who like randomly found us on the internet because we had a viral reel or something like that. These are people that we have been intentionally building relationships with and networking with for the last 17 years. That's as long as we've been doing this whole entrepreneur thing.
Yeah. I mean, your network.
And that's going to go into real estate as well, especially as you're selling high ticket items. And I think back to some of when we purchased our home in Alabama and in Ohio, and I don't think either, maybe one of them, the one in Ohio, I couldn't even tell you what her name is. She didn't try to maintain a relationship with us because, you could have referred people. We knew other people that lived in the neighborhood.
We did.
It is so important to stay in touch with those people, and that's something that Jason's pretty good at.
Yeah, I will follow up, follow back, and follow through every single time. I do want to share a story with all of you. There was a moment, I'd say, and this happens with every entrepreneur. There comes that moment when you hit that wall. Like she's over here checking her phone and stuff to make sure we're not going to miss lunch. I do want to share it with you. There was a moment whenever, as you're starting a new business, you start to doubt yourself. And in December of 2023, I really started to doubt myself, whether or not I had this, whether or not I could do it. I mean, I had sold a house. I set a goal of 90 days right from the jump to get out. I was going to close my first deal within 90 days. Little did I know that didn't happen, almost, but I missed it. And God actually,
you kept going.
Yeah, I kept going. But here's the thing. God actually tested me on this moment. And a friend of mine, Steve Spray, reached out to me. He works for Grant Cardone. I don't know if you guys know who Grant Cardone is, but Steve Spray is one of his top right-hand men. He's actually mentioned by name in Be Obsessed or Be Average. Steve's a great guy. And we were talking about me coming down there to Grant Cardone's place and working for Grant Cardone, doing calls, doing dials. We walked through what that would look like income-wise, travel-wise. Like I seriously explored this. I was like, I don't know real estate. I don't know what I was thinking. Real estate may not be the thing for me. And it just, and I was just like looking for a way out, something to relieve my pain, so I would be somehow validated that I made the right choice. Like, okay, you tried that. That didn't work for you. You go try this now. And the income was good. I'd be working great with, right in Grant's organization, right next to my friend Steve. But over time, I was like, I said, I need a little bit to sit with this. And I sat with it for like a week, and I was just like, I just couldn't get my head around going to work for Grant Cardone down in Aventura. It just wasn't a right fit for where I was at in my life. I really was like, I see a vision of real estate, but it wasn't happening.
The biggest thing was I wanted you to be able to build your own brand. And I knew that if you went to work for him, that would prohibit you from being able to do that. So I was like, just hold out and just trust this process. It might take a little bit longer. We have money coming in from other places, but we were feeling a little bit of the squeeze, and you really wanted to be able to bring in some income. Yeah,
and I almost quit, guys. Like I thought about it long enough to where I was like, man, I may do this. I started mapping out train routes and all. Like I put some serious thought into this, but thank goodness I pushed through. I listened to my wife. I stuck with her intuition. I stuck with it, and I got a $5.6 million house under contract the very next month. So I mean, if you don't know, that's like $140,000 commission. So it turned out really, really good. But in the end, I listened to my wife. But I want you to think about this for a moment. There's a lot of hard lessons I learned along the way. They're very, very high real estate. I mean, when you get a $5.6 million house under contract, it's amazing. But whenever you start missing deals, it can be the lows of the lows. I promise you that. But I've got somebody in my corner to pick me up. This is what I didn't know about this. Like I've always done a business with my wife. My wife is not involved in my real estate business on the day-to-day. She doesn't know all the people I interact with. Whereas before, whenever we built businesses, it was like one and the same. We were symbiotic. We were going together. We were flowing together. We knew exactly where we were going. Whereas I've gone off and I've done the real estate thing largely by myself, and she's helped me on my marketing piece. But in the end, I stuck with the real estate. It's done really, really well. So I told you in the very beginning how it started versus how it's going. I started knowing 16 people, not knowing where I was going to even find my first deal at. Hell, I didn't even know where I was going to find somebody who would let me sell $1 million house. Now I've got $9.5 million closed and under contract. Hopefully the goal is 10 million. When I made that goal, I had no idea where I was going to start. I had no idea I was going to get
You've got about 6 weeks left until the end of the year to cross that 10 million.
That's right. I've got 6 weeks left. So now I'm ramping up. I'm discarding anything that's a distraction from that goal. I'm not watching Netflix. I'm not hanging out with the boys. I'm not watching football games. Like, the thing about this goal is when I first started, I had zero idea how I was going to cross this line. I mean, it seemed so far into the future, like so astronomically far away. I had no idea how I was going to do it. But I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast right now, like, it's possible if you just get started. And here I am at 9.5 million. And like, I could take my foot off the gas. I could say, you know what? You did a pretty good job. Christmas is coming up. Why don't you kick back and relax? Here come the holidays. But oh no, hell no. That's not Jason Rash. That's not who I am. And that's definitely not the game of real estate. You don't give up whenever you're almost there at the line. You push forward and you actually put your foot down on the accelerator. So now I've got a $650,000 house that I cold called. I cold called this person out of the blue and fought all these other real estate agents off like sharks in a water filled with minnow and blood. Fought them all off to get the listing. And now I'm going to close on the deal. I'm trying to get it under contract and I'm working hard. If I get that, I'll cross my $10 million mark. But I don't like to leave life up to chance. I've got a $3 million off-market property that I'm working that I'm this close to closing. I've got the seller that's already committed to 3%, and I've got a buyer that wants the property to come in, and he wants to buy the property. If I close that deal and this other deal, I will far exceed my goal and my target. What I'm getting at is this. Whenever you start any new business, you don't know where you're going to wind up. But if you don't put your best foot forward and you don't give it everything you got, you're going to hate yourself and your soul is going to not be happy. Like that's the way this works. Like my wife has seen me, like I am so on fire now. I feel like I'm living so on purpose. I've stopped buying a bunch of dumb stuff on Amazon. That's the first thing that happens, by the way. Whenever you're
not, it's slowed down.
Yeah, when you're not living on purpose, the first thing you do is you just start doing dumb stuff.
You drinking. Spend a lot of money.
Yeah, you start drinking more. You start spending more money. You start buying stuff on Amazon. Oh my God. I got to upgrade this. I got to upgrade the case on my phone because that's what's really going to bring me fulfillment. No, it's not. People do dumb stuff because they're lost. I was lost. I realize that now. I didn't realize it then. But the game of real estate saved me. I told my wife the other day, I was like, I don't think I found real estate. I think the game of real estate found me. And it's a game that I love and I'm definitely willing to play. And it's a game that I love the most because you can win more than one way. Remember, never play a game that you can only win one way because the odds will always be stacked against you. That's what I've got for this episode here.
I have one lesson that is the most important lesson that I think you forgot.
Oh, go ahead.
And that is that you realized pretty early on that in order to make it, you needed to figure out lead gen. Because if you don't have lead gen, you, as good as you were at going out and meeting people, you needed a source of lead generation. And that was your biggest downfall because you had the personality, you had the real estate knowledge, you knew how to do the marketing, but you had to get in front of people and that now you have a good lead gen source. But for a while, like for a bit, you were fumbling with the lead gen.
Yeah. You want me to dive into that real quick?
Not too much because,
sure.
Because you're going to do a whole episode on lead gen, but But I thought that was going to be one of the lessons because that was what we talked about on all of our walks. So like, where am I going to find? Yeah. Where am I finding people at? Because you couldn't meet people fast enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes for any business out there. It's like you need lead gen. Doesn't matter what you are.
And also I've learned all of these things about real estate from being in this game with you is that most people are 6 to 8 months, maybe up to 18 months out from buying. So you may meet someone and build a relationship, but it's not instant money. It's like you got to nurture that all the way to the finish line. And it may take years for you to end up seeing business from that. So you needed a source of leads of people that were like hot leads that were ready to buy or ready to sell. And that was probably the biggest challenge that you've had this first year in business.
Yeah. I do want to save that for another episode, but I want to comment and say you are absolutely correct. On our nightly walks, by the way, that's the hack. I mean, that's the marriage hack, going on a nightly walk with your spouse.
I could think of another hack too, but you know.
Yeah, we could do that too. But nightly walk, with your spouse without your phone. I'm telling you, it is a hack indeed. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what we talked about the whole time. It was like, where am I going to get these leads from? Like, where am I going to meet these people, and how do I meet these people, and how do I stand out, right? And I'll talk about that on another episode. But you are right. I mean, I had to find leads, and they were not coming from my source in my pool of where I was getting them from before. It's social media for our other business.
Right.
Yeah. So awesome. That's what we got for you guys today. Welcome. Thank you so much for listening to the Game of Real Estate. It gets better with every single episode, and we're going to be talking about leads and how to generate leads in the next episode. Thank you so much. Have a great day. For this episode, the Game of Real Estate. Remember, this game rewards those who stay in it to win it, and I'm here to keep you ahead of the competition. If you're feeling pumped and ready to make your next big move, hit that follow button so that you never miss an episode. And hey, don't just listen, share this podcast. Screenshot this episode, post it to the stories, and tag me at Jason Rash. Go ahead and do that now for a repost and a personal shout out. This is the Game of Real Estate, where winners are made, deals are closed, and the hustle never stops. I'll see you back on the field next time. Game on. Let's go.